Mr. Rosenfield, what is the mood of the people out there in California right now?
Angry. We're fed up with 3 years of high insurance rates. We're fed up with insurance companies that you can be with for 20 years and never file a claim, and then all of a sudden you have a fender bender. It's not even your fault. You submit a claim, and the insurance company cancels your policy or raises your rates 50%. We're fed up with moving from one neighborhood to the next and having our insurance rates go up 50%. People are angry, and that's why we put Proposition 103 on the ballot.
Harvey Rosenfield, your proposition cut insurance rates right across the board by 20%, and yet half of California's voters voted against that. Isn't that because half of California voters know there's no such thing as a free lunch, and they know it is utterly absurd to try to set prices by popular vote?
Pat, I can tell you that half of California's population voted for Prop 103. The other half were probably confused by the biggest amount of money spent on false advertising by the insurance industry in the history of American politics, $70 million worth. There's no doubt in our minds, from what we've heard before and after the election, that everybody in California wanted lower rates. There were 4 other initiatives on the ballot, sponsored by the insurance companies and the trial lawyers, and how we even managed with a grassroots campaign based on word of mouth to get out the word to the population, I think is a political miracle, and attests to the demand here in California for immediate insurance relief and long-term reform.
By 1999, the Consumer Federation of America reported that Prop 103 had saved California drivers $23 billion. But one part of Prop 103 remained unenforced.
Should your zip code have anything to do with how much you pay for car insurance? State and local officials say the answer is no, and they're demanding equity in auto insurance rates.
And we're at El Segundo and Vermont, and this is a border of sorts, because if I live on this side of the street, I'd pay anywhere from $500 to $800 more a year for someone who lives right across 6 lanes of traffic. Why is that? Well, because that's a different zip code. And some people say that's got to change.
Insurance went up because they said I live in LA, according to my zip code. And that's ridiculous.
There is no reason that the people that live in these houses should pay a different rate if they're a good driver than the people that live across the street.
It's as if Santa said, I don't care whether you're naughty or nice, all I care about is where you live.
And in 2005, Insurance Commissioner Garamendi announced regulations to implement this last piece of 103 and to end zip code-based insurance premiums.
You may be on the west side of Highway 99 here in Fresno versus the east side of 99 and have a much higher rate one side of the street than the other side of the street. That's unfair.
Prop 103 became a national example of how insurance reform not limits uninjured victims' legal rights, keeps insurance premiums down.
In California, we've actually had an insurance reform in effect since 1988, and it's delivered huge savings to all lines of insurance, including malpractice reform. But if you're going to take the rights of innocent victims to hold a wrongdoer accountable in court, you're going to have a problem.
In the 1990s, FTCR worked with patients and nurses to pioneer the HMO patients' rights movement.
An $800 scan could have saved what Stephen lost. Not only vision, but behavior. He's got cerebral palsy. He'll always be delayed. For us, it was too high of a price to pay for them not to do it. Had we been given the opportunity to pay for it ourselves, we would have, since we asked 3 times. But that wasn't an option given to us.
We tried going the legislative route. We tried going the legal route. We tried just doing whatever education we could. But it's not enough to educate patients. Basically, patients have to be empowered to take control. And the Patient Protection Act, via the ballot, will allow patients to do just that.
The other side is running radio ads.
Our creation is reviving.
Senator Kennedy, we've created...
Oh no, Frankenstein's monster.
This is high-tech lobbying aimed at killing HMO regulation.
Would you be willing to send a free telegram to both your senators?
But only 2,000 telegrams sent so far, after more than $1 million spent. Far more effective is this shoestring California consumer group. No ads, just a fax a day to keep the HMOs at bay.
Goes to every U.S. congressman, every U.S. senator, about 400 people in the media, and in various state legislatures.
Featured daily, a casualty of the day, emotional stories about alleged HMO victims, many deceased.
By 1999, California had adopted the toughest HMO patients' Bill of Rights laws in the nation.
Governor Gray Davis will soon sign legislation giving Californians an opportunity, for the first time, to sue their HMOs.
Only thing that's going to get the HMO's attention is the threat of a massive lawsuit and a big jury verdict against them.
FTCR continues its work with patients, fighting for affordable prescription drugs.
Jaquez eventually went to Canada to get cheaper drugs with the Foundation for Taxpayer and Consumer Rights. And now the group, with this video, wants to sign up members for a program which may soon be offered by the city of Los Angeles. Authored by now Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, it establishes a buyer's co-op of sorts to purchase drugs at a cheaper price.
When electricity prices skyrocketed, thanks to the pirates at Enron, FTCR fought back.
Virtually all of the states that went dark in the last week are states that have deregulated. In California, the alarm was sounded, but the politicians hit the snooze button.
Could I predict a phony energy crisis as a result of deregulation? Yes. Could I predict that Arnold Schwarzenegger would be our governor as a result of deregulation? Never would have come up with that.
Because of the special interests, but you know something? They cannot stop me.
When Governor Schwarzenegger started calling regular people special interests, the Foundation's Arnold Watch took him on.
He says he has done nothing wrong, but it turns out that he signed a multi-million-dollar consulting deal with some fitness magazines just before he took office, and now charges are flying that has produced a conflict of interest.
Governor Schwarzenegger failed to disclose a contract with these muscle magazines, and as a result, he has violated his trust with the public of California.
The governor has given no real information as to how his initiatives would save California taxpayers a dime.
Among those expected to attend the fundraiser, Roland Arnold, head of AmeriQuest Mortgage Corporation, which is being investigated for fraud in over a dozen states.
These industries represent predatory lenders, auto dealers, large HMOs whose interests do not align with the needs of Californians, and their godfather, the Don of the state, is our own Governor Schwarzenegger.
He lifted rules that essentially force nurses to work more for the same pay. Then he had to face them.
I've seen these protests build from 20 people to 6,000 people in San Francisco. I think they've shattered his ego.
FTCR and its allies didn't just fight from the outside. They took the message right to the governor's donors.
No, I don't make
An $89,000 seat does not feel any different.
My name's Andy Doyle, I'm a firefighter.
Lou Curry, LA County Firefighters.
Ken White, LA County Fireman.
On Oscar night, FTCR and the California Nurses Association took free speech to new heights. For 20 years, FTCR has lived by the motto, say what needs to be said.
We think it's fine if companies make a profit, but we didn't write a blank check for biotech.
I mean, you can expand the debate and start talking about public financing of campaigns.
So legislature is really moving in the wrong direction on this, and it may take a ballot initiative in the future to straighten out the system.
If I bought hurricane insurance and in many cases paid thousands of dollars a year for it, and then Katrina ripped through my neighborhood and destroyed my home, why is my insurance company telling me they're going to deny my claim?
Essentially, what Medicare is asking seniors to do is gamble on whether or not you're going to stay healthy.
The system is rigged for a shortage, even though it's artificial.
You're using these terms, rigged, control. I mean, these are not terms that most people kind of accept in a free market society.
Well, I think the only thing free about this market for oil companies in the United States of America is they're free to do whatever they want. That's the market.
A Schwarzenegger Republican is a Bush Republican who calls himself a Schwarzenegger Republican.
And do what needs to be done.
Well, Ken, they call it Air Arnold, an airplane complete with a protest banner. Air Arnold flew over Arnold Schwarzenegger's Southern California home this weekend, and now protesters say they plan to make Air Arnold a fixture at future fundraising events. The banner in tow reads, "Don't be big business's bully."
The California-based Foundation for Taxpayer and Consumer Rights said that for $26 each, it was able to buy the Social Security numbers and home addresses of Attorney General John Ashcroft, CIA Director George Tenet, and Karl Rove.
Senior citizens are willing to haul all the way to Canada to save on prescription drugs, and they're doing it together.
Dozens of protesters boarded a train called the RX Express to protest the rising costs.
And we're here to talk about an issue that is affecting every American. That's the high cost of prescription drugs.
These initiatives, they were passed by all volunteers in each of these cities. Over 70,000 signatures gathered by local citizens who wanted to make a difference in their own city councils.
And we've heard from Singular customers, they're pissed off, they have dropped calls, they are static in mid-conversation. And that's why we've sued Singular Wireless.
Now, we thought today we'd bring this bull and some of this bull's waste products to Edison so that Edison could get a little glimpse of what they've been dumping in our living rooms for the last 4 weeks.
A consumer rights group brought several pot-bellied pigs to a public hearing today to protest what they call the piggy aspects of a proposed HMO merger. Yes. The Foundation for Taxpayer and Consumer Rights is opposing the merger of Pacific Care and United Healthcare HMOs. Spokesperson says that the documents filed on the merger show a plan to reward Pacific Care executives with $230 million in cash and stock.
It's obscene to allow top executives to feed at the trough at a time when millions of Americans and Californians can't afford their health care.
Can we at least get a little time with the governor?
We have to tell you no. Get up and leave now. I'm not going to tell you again.
I am so happy to be with good people, honoring good people.
I want to thank you all for doing what you're doing for Harvey and the group, because we need them to come up to Sacramento and kick us all in the rear end occasionally, including myself. They spare nobody. They think you're getting out of line that lets you know it.